those are just some of the highlights of a lot of those unfortunate incidences. They go all the way back to the early 2000s, where they picketed at many Catholic and Episcopal churches, especially in Iowa when they legitimized same-sex marriage. They protested a memorial in 2006 at the Sago mine disaster. 2005, they wanted to picket at a memorial in Boise, Idaho, for someone who died during an ammunition incident. I mean, there are so many. If you Google them, you will definitely see these people are definitely busy in all the wrong ways. If you look in the 2010s, I mean, they basically protest at least a dozen times a year. Yes, the Boston bombing was one of the worst incidences of this problem. Not only that, they protest at a tornado in Oklahoma in 2013. They view natural disasters as God's punishment for behaving the way he supposedly created people to behave. They like to focus their attention more on the non-heterosexual events. They wanted to go to many famous people's funerals, such as Heath Ledger, Natasha Richardson, Elizabeth Taylor, Ryan Dunn, Gloria Leonidas, Steve Jobs, George Jones, Roger Ebert, Corey Monteith from Glee, Paul Walker, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Robin Williams, and victims of the I-35 West Mississippi River Bridge collapse. They were going to protest at the funeral of Whitney Houston. They intended to picket at Leonard Nimoy's funeral, but they were unable to find the location. They love being on radios where they exchange hate speech. Now, one good thing that did come out of these protests is the notoriety about homophobic protests. There were a lot of counter-protests, which means a lot of decent, empathetic people came out to protest against this homophobic hate group. So that was something nice that came out of that. Friends and family obscured vision at Matthew Shepard's funeral. There was a lot of anti-Westboro church protest, especially after 9/11, trying to fight against the stereotype that all Muslims are bad people. The Laramie Project was a anti-protest play, later on became a movie, and is probably as famous as the Trevor Project is now. And that's just one group. Whenever there's a racial or some form of sexist protest, different groups from neo-Nazi, white supremacist, and Ku Klux Klan show up. There's been a lot of court cases trying to decide if this is protected speech. And according to my translation and understanding of what is protected speech under the law, hate speech is not protected under any American law. And threats of violence is not protected under the U.S. Constitution. Calling anybody any slurs for any reason is not acceptable. I've actually received my first slur on YouTube due to commenting about homophobia on a video through YouTube where people were burning pride flags because they believe homosexual people are sick. And I was called a very bad word. I'm not going to say here, but basically it means someone who tries to groom children. Yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of different tragedies, basically any tragedy that affects children, people in positions of white privilege, or people who died not because of how they lived per se, but people who, it was usually the reason why people harmed them due to negative beliefs about certain people. And it's not just against people who aren't outside the church. It's that they want to create laws. Churches and religion wants to create laws that make hate speech, hate demonstrations, protests, and just hateful groups legal. They want to be able to sue people for calling them on their crap. Florida's doing this. They're trying to make a law this year where you can sue somebody for calling a homophobic person homophobic. The problem with these groups are you're free to have your own opinion. But if it's going to harm somebody, make someone's mental health worse, or cause them to feel not safe, keep your opinions